Hey guys, the name is Kris Barocsi. Welcome to comment time number 10. This is my Q&A format and we will of course get into the comments. Just one more thing, between the comments there'll be some playing and I'll be jamming my Tate Effects pedals this time. I love these pedals, they are a lot of fun to play and you guys can let me know what you think about them. A short reminder, as always, please hit subscribe and ring the notification bell if you enjoy my videos. I'd appreciate that a lot. And check out the description box for gear links, timestamps, etc. You'll find the original videos where I took these comments from as well. Alright, let's start with a fun one. This is from Colin Pumpernickel. What a name! This one came under my Telecaster video where I basically explained why the Tele is the best guitar in the world. Which it is. You are spot on. There's something reassuring about a Tele. I have a Tele, a 335, and a Les Paul, and a Strat. I had a fun dream where I was chopping my way through a jungle in Vietnam with a Tele. I then sat down and began playing a beautiful Les Paul, and a tiger came along and ate me. I must go now. They've come to take me away. What? I'm real not sure what we've learned from this story, but it's a weird dream, man. You know what? You should have taken the Tele, man. Mark Horning wrote under my forgotten secret about humbuckers pickup, where I show how to adjust humbucker pole pieces and what it does to the sound, etc. He writes, adjusting pole pieces doesn't really do anything. Adjusting the pickup height is what does. Seth Lover, the inventor of the Gibson PAF, states adjustable pole pieces were a Gibson marketing thing. I know this. Mark, thanks for the comment, by the way. I know about this. I'm such a nerd, I actually read interviews with Seth Lover. I know about this. He also mentioned that the nickel covers on PAFs will not change the pickup's sound, whether it's on the pickup or you remove it from the pickup. I removed the cover on the bridge pickup and I have the nickel cover on the neck pickup. Seth told that the nickel cover doesn't change the magnetic field of the pickup, so it will not change the sound of the pickup. Full stop. Yeah, but it does. And I'm not saying he's not right. I'm only saying that this nearly 70 years that passed since he invented the PAF like mid-50s and now 2020, I'm 100% sure that these nickel covers are not exactly the same as what he was using back in the 50s. I'm also pretty sure that whatever it is, the magnets, the wires, whichever things are not exactly the same. So what I can tell is that removing the nickel cover on the pickup does change the sound. Definitely. Like, that's why I removed the cover here. I wasn't even sure about the looks of the guitar like this. I actually wanted both nickel pickup covers on the guitar, but I played this Antiquity with the cover on and I was like, yeah, I don't know. Remove the cover. I was like, damn, there you go. It just changed so much, and I will shoot a video on that. And also the same thing for the pole pieces. I of course believe Seth Lover that when he designed the pickup and he built those first PAFs and they were using certain materials, he didn't hear anything or he couldn't measure any difference in the output or magnetic field, whatever, while adjusting the pole pieces. And I'm 100% sure that he is right with saying it was Gibson's decision just to make the spec list longer of the pickup. Because, I mean, using the pole pieces, like writing adjustable pole pieces, because people love long spec lists. Fact is that on modern PAF replicas and more modern, higher output passive humbuckers, if you have the adjustable pole pieces on one of the sides of the pickup and you adjust it, they will sound different. And if you check out the comment section under the video, it's full of people coming back just to comment once more that they did it, that they went for it, they tried it on their guitars, and especially on the neck pickup, which tends to be woolly and too warm and not really articulate. They did it. They raised the pole pieces and lowered the pickup just a bit, and it changed everything. They're in love with their humbuckers again, and they don't want to swap it anymore, and it's just overwhelming. Wargasm 644 wrote this under my Les Paul versus custom shop Les Paul video. Don't ever buy a custom shop. All your other guitars will get dusty. Which is funny to say, and it's sort of true, but not necessarily. Fact is that it's really easy to fall in love with a custom shop guitar or anything that's as expensive as a custom shop guitar, because they will be beautiful, or just the specs, like everything you want is exactly how you want it because you just ordered it that way. The neck profile, the weight, the color, the, I don't know, pickups and everything. So it's of course luxury, and there's a big chance of falling in love with one of these guitars and then don't care too much for like budget guitars or medium price range guitars anymore. That's not my personal experience though, because I do play my two custom shops most of the time, like my Les Paul and my Tele. That doesn't stop me though from playing this guitar, my Junior thingy. Can you see it? There you go. My customized Junior, which I bought for like, what was it, like 500 euros maybe? That's a bargain. That's like an affordable guitar pretty much. And it's such a good guitar. Of course, I've spent quite some money on it, and time especially, in upgrading it. So all I'm saying is, if you compare a custom shop, I don't know, Strat with a Squier, like stock Squier, you will most probably only want to play the custom shop. I mean, I would only want to play that custom shop in that case. But in my world, where I love to modify and tweak guitars and try out different things, if I find a guitar that's affordable, but it rings in a certain way, it has the sustain, it has a fantastic feeling neck, and everything is good about it, except for everything that's on it, like all the hardware and pickups and whatever, I can change those. I enjoy these guitars as much, basically, as my custom shops. That was a long explanation. I hope it made sense. Soundscape had a really good question. Hey Kris, loving hearing these morsels of expert advice. Oh man, thank you. I have a question for an experienced guitar tech such as yourself. Oh my god. I replaced the Tune-O-Matic bridge on my LP style Harley Benton, and the posts are not quite wide enough to friction fit inside the existing post holes. Wait. We're talking about this part of the guitar, the Tune-O-Matic bridge. And Soundscape is asking about the post that goes into the body. They don't vibrate, but when I change the strings, they are loose enough to slip out of the guitar body. Is there a way to shrink the post holes without filling and re-drilling? Do you think it's even necessary, worthwhile? As I said, they aren't so loose that I'm getting any vibrations, but am I potentially losing sustain? One idea I had was to coat the inside of the post holes with some wood glue to thicken the walls up a bit, but I'm worried about sucking the sustain out. Very good question. Filling up the post holes is not necessary. It's not a good idea though to fill up with wood glue, a soup of glue, and just push it in and whatever. If you worry about sustain and resonances and everything, it's not the best solution, to be honest. So I would not do that. What you could do is purchase really thin hardwood laminate. They look like sheets of paper, basically, and they're barely thicker. And just any hardwood. It doesn't have to be any exotic wood. I mean, if you have a local sort of wood supplier or wood shop, they will obviously have something like this. But I think online is also not a bad idea to search, like on eBay or whatever. You'll probably be successful. Cut off shallow and small pieces of this laminate and put them inside the post hole, like on the wall. Stand them up on the wall, and you can use, of course, wood glue. The only problem is that it will probably be way too small for your post. You will have way too much tension in the body, and that could actually crack the body. So that's not cool. If you have the fitting drill bit to your post size, you can re-drill it. But before you do anything like this, make sure that the wood glue is dry, that holds these little laminate pieces on the sides of the post hole. And if that's way too much trouble and you are way too worried about what will happen and you don't have the tools or you don't have the patience, you could try the same thing in simple, which means that you take just a tiny piece of this thin hardwood laminate, just one little piece, and sort of put it in with the post. Just force it in. It will hold the post in its position. It will not let it rattle around. It will not fall out anymore. You don't even necessarily have to use wood glue if you're not confident about it. Just make sure that it's a good fit, that it's tight enough, that it's really hard to push it in, but you can still push it in with basically with your finger. Quicksilver asks, okay, now how's your Hungarian? That's a funny question because in my last Q&A I spoke one or two sentences in German because I live here in Germany for 12 years and someone wanted to ask how my German is. So let's get this out of the way. Azt kérdezted, hogy milyen, amikor magyarul beszélek? Ilyen, amikor magyarul beszélek. Ez nyilván marha furcsán hangzik a számotokra, mert a magyar annyira más nyelv, nem tipikus a hangzása, úgyhogy most ezt is hallottátok. And why does every guitarist yaps about thick, chunky necks? What's the big deal? Yeah, I used to be the biggest Ibanez and Super Wizard neck fan back when I started. And for a couple of years, actually. All I wanted is the thinnest neck ever because I thought that for some reason that helps me to play faster. And then later on, whatever guitar I had at that time, I'm not sure, maybe a Music Man, something with a relatively thin neck. Someone had like an early 90s Les Paul. And he gave it to me and I was like, whoa, okay, I was expecting this guitar to be miserable to play and just everything in my way and just a terrible experience. And it was not. It was very nice to play because everything felt so round, like the fretboard edge, the back, the curvature of the neck. And then another buddy of mine had an American Special or Highway 1 Tele. It looked so pretty. I was like, ooh, okay, that looks good, but it's probably miserable to play. I grabbed it and I was blown away. And I was like, why are these guitars not worse to play than my super thin neck guitars? If you're that kind of shredder person and you have your finger like right in the middle, right here, and you play your licks, super fast licks and whatever, I totally get it that you prefer a flatter, thinner neck profile, because that way that just feels like you have nothing in the way and you just play your crazy licks. I'm terrible at playing fast, so I stopped worrying about that, and with my style that I more and more developed, I figured that my thumb comes up and I like to grab on the neck. So when someone says that a chunky neck is the best thing ever, that's gonna be probably a player like me who has this sort of a rock and roll or Jimi Hendrix hand position with the thumb way up here, because then it just feels so nice and round. Håkan Killberg asked this under my "Do you need a high quality cable?" video. Great video, Kris. Thanks, very helpful. I have another question for you. Since I'm almost a beginner electric guitar player and only use a combo amp, I would like to learn more about going from a head and the torpedo into an interface to the computer, but I don't get this at all. Since you have that lovely REVV Dynamis and the torpedo, can you do a video on how you connect all this together with the interface and what kind of interface into the computer? You see a lot of videos out there about maybe the REV and then the torpedo, etc., but you never see anyone show how to connect this together with the interface and so on. That is actually a very good question, and you're right, not many people talk about these things. Whether it's a combo or a head, it doesn't matter. You will have a speaker output jack, where if it's a combo you will have a jack cable, a speaker cable connected already that goes directly to the speaker. If it's a head, it will just be an unplugged jack, just a simple jack on the back side of the amplifier, and there you will have to connect a speaker cable. This is one of my speaker cables. You could assume it's just a guitar cable, right? It looks pretty normal, it has a jack. Well, no. First of all, you will notice how much thicker it is. This is one of my guitar cables. I hope you can tell. Wait, let me check in on the screen. Yeah. I mean, in real life, and especially if you hold it in your hands, you feel like right away, like, oh my god, what is this huge thing? You have to be careful not to mix those two. If you use a guitar cable from the speaker out of your head or combo into your speaker cabinet, you will probably melt this cable. You could possibly even damage the power amp of your amplifier, your power tubes, whatever. It's not a good idea. So I turned the REV over to see the back panel, and this is the speaker out, the speaker jack I was talking about. This is a 8 ohm Captor X, so you obviously have to pay attention to that and connect the speaker cable to the 8 ohms output of the amplifier. That goes into the speaker in of the Captor. This is the backside of the Captor X. Then, because the Captor X gives you a cab and mic simulated signal, that's a line level signal, which is a mixer and audio interface friendly signal strength that comes out through these. It's called the outputs, obviously, and you have two XLR plugs. You will connect a normal microphone cable, an XLR cable, to this, and then with that cable you go to your interface. Why are there two of these? because it's stereo. You don't have to use both. You can use just the left one if you want to go mono. But I mean, if you have 2 channels on your interface on your mixer, why not using a stereo? This is my audio interface. This is the Audient ID44. I absolutely love it because it has 4 channels, really good quality preamps, blah blah blah, lots of options and everything. I will have my XLR cables coming from the Captor X right here, and I will connect them to the first 2 channels, to this and this. And how do I connect the interface with the computer? Well, USB, baby. Plug this in the computer and that's it. And then the last step is gonna be the D8W or DAW, the Digital Audio Workstation. For that I use PreSonus Studio One. I love the software, it's really reliable, sounds great, doesn't degrade the sound quality. This is gonna be the guitar signal, guitar 1 and 2, and then 2 more tracks. This is gonna be left and right, left and right. I hope this was understandable and useful, and if not, just let me know in the comments. Ben Hackett wrote under my pedals sound better with cranked amps video. Ben writes, yes, it's a gain balancing act. You don't want both your amp and pedal cranked, or you just get an overdrive mess with less touch sensitivity. You don't want a lot of gain per unit. Like, let's say a simple scenario, you have a pedal and you have an amp that overdrives slightly. You don't want that amp to have like a high gain overdrive already, because if you then turn on a pedal in front of that, it will just get way over the top. You'll have massive amount of noise and just mess and everything. It will not be tight anymore. You set up your amp, for example, to sort of a low to low medium crunch, something that you feel comfortable with, something that sounds really cool and is definitely tight, and it's just not enough gain for your taste, right? So you start with way less gain than what you want to have at the end, but like the voicing, the character, the dynamics and everything should feel really cool. And then comes the overdrive pedal in front of that amp in play, where you have again a couple of options. So here's a standard example. Good old Tube Screamer. So you have the overdrive, the tone and the level. A classic way of setting this up with a cranked amp or like an overdriving amp is gonna be level all the way up, overdrive start at 0. You do want a lot of level and not a lot of gain. Of course, the Tube Screamer doesn't have a lot of gain, so you can actually go like up to noon or past noon, because it's just such a low gain overdrive. But if you're using something that has more drive, be really careful with that overdrive or gain knob, because what it will also increase is your noise level and the greasiness, the mess in your sound. This way you have a very low gain but pretty loud guitar sound coming from this pedal going into the amplifier that's cranked, and because these 2 gain stages add up to your final sound, you will have a crisp, really fast and tight gain sound. Not necessarily only for metal or whatever, just any sort of overdrive sound. Prasant Selvadurai wrote under my amp headroom good or bad video. I've heard Mesas don't take the cranked amp thing well. Even JP, John Petrucci, kept his masters on his Mark IIc and Mark IV around 4 or less on stage as well. I mean, take a look at Santana. You don't have to love his music or his playing or whatever, but damn, he has a unique and extremely pretty sound, and that is a cranked Mark series amp. I really don't think the brand is relevant. I mean, even Mesa Boogie sells so many different types of amps. There's the Rectifier series, the Lone Stars, the Marks, the Fillmores, the Californias, the whatever. They will all sound different if you crank them or not. With the Mark series, what's interesting is that you don't need the power amp saturation a lot. You don't want it to distort necessarily, because its magic is in the preamp. So as soon as you pass like 2 or 3 with the master, you have that warmth, this comforting sound, this beautiful sound of the power amp. It still has tons of headroom, as you've heard in the video, in this amp headroom video I did, and you can play with the graphic EQ and the preamp push-pull knobs and the EQs and whatever, and that's how they sound best to most. Of course, there are brands that are very famous for sounding awesome when cranked, like Marshall's Vox amps, all of these, and like Tweed Fender amps. I think that's really just a personal taste thing, and the playing style decides as well if it works for you or not. Alrighty, thank you very much for watching. I'll be back with comment time videos very soon. Let me know what you thought of the pedals and the sounds today. I enjoy these a lot. Stuart Tate is such a nice guy, and he didn't even ask me to do a demo or whatever, and it's not a paid thing right now. I just enjoy these pedals, and I realized I didn't shoot anything for the hot coals, even though it's a unique pedal and it's a very nice treble booster, and it's just fun, and I want to keep these comment time videos enjoyable and a little more interesting than just me blabbering all the time. You guys take it easy, have a nice week, I'll be back. Bye bye.